Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress. If you watch chess on YouTube, you must have seen the ads with Garry Kasparov promoting his Masterclass series. There are different versions of it, and in one of the versions you can see him talk about this position. And this is the position I will cover for you in this video because it is called by many chess writers the study of the Millennium, and it's really something special. It's composed by Leopold Mitrofanov from St. Petersburg in Russia, and it won the first prize in the Rustaveli tournament in 1967. And the jury of the Rustaveli tournament, which included Mikhail Tal, chose it from among 250 entries. The report said it doesn't look like any other and is beyond the rest of the studies. And Herbstman, also a member of the jury, said, immediately after the first preview, Mitrofanov's masterpiece created a tremendous impression by the intensity and novelty of the idea. The ranking of the other studies was designated by us, beginning with second place. That's how special a study it is. When preparing this video, I made use of the website from Tim Krabbe and also of this book, The Joys of Chess by Christian Hesse. Let's look at the position. It's white to play and win. That won't be very easy because black is about to promote his pawn and then has all sorts of perpetual checks against white's exposed king. The first move from white here is b5, b6 check. And that's a good move because black was threatening to play bishop c7 to stop the queenside pawns and then promote his own pawn. So b6 as a first move is a good move. King a8. And now the first magical move in this composition. Rook e1. Just giving away that rook because the knight can take it. And why does white do that? Well, he needs to protect the bottom rank to stop the queen that will appear on h1 to give checks to the king, and we'll see that in a minute. White cannot play g7 instead to make a queen himself, because then there's h1 queen, g8 queen check, bishop b8 covering the check, and white cannot stop the checks from the black queen. Black will be able to give her perpetual with his pieces. So rook e1 is the move, and black has to take the rook, because of course that rook is also covering the promotion square. We want to promote our pawn, so we take the rook, and here I must say that many times the study for Mitrofanov is given with this starting position, because unfortunately after rook e1 a draw was found for black, starting with knight c4 check instead of taking the rook on e1. But I want to show you the original composition from Mitrofanov, even though for purists you should really start after this move, knight takes e1, and there's still enough to enjoy. So black is taken on e1, then white plays g7 on its way to a queen, and now black has to promote. Let's look if he doesn't promote. If he plays knight c4 check, try a different way. Then there is king b5, and if you promote then white promotes with check, bishop interposes, and a7, setting up a checkmate threat on b8. This is the threat. Then you can play queen h2 to protect the bishop. But then queen takes b8, check, you have to take, white promotes, king takes, and king takes c4. And this is a winning endgame for white. Black cannot stop those three pawns with just his king and knight. So back to where we were, we played g7, and we said, well, what if black plays knight c4 check? We played king b5, promotion, promotion, bishop b8, and then a7 with a checkmate threat. And you can also, instead of queen h2 that we just played, you can also try and give more checks, knight a3 check. But then there is king c6, and after queen h2, protecting the checkmate, a takes b8 queen, queen takes, and now the beautiful move b7 check, king a7, queen g1 check, king a6, and queen b6 checkmate. So where were we? We were at the third move, g6, g7, and we just looked at why knight c4 check does not work, because that wins for white. So black has to promote here, h1 queen. Then white has to promote, g8 queen check, and you have only one move. You have to cover the check with the bishop, and then a7 is a logical move to set up the checkmate threat. And now knight c4 check does not work because of king a6. There are no checks, and you will checkmate with queen takes b8. If you prevent that with queen h2, protecting the bishop, then b7 is checkmate. Very nice. So after a7, you cannot play knight c4 check as we just saw. So let's try knight c6 check. Because we need to give checks. We're almost checkmated, and we need to make some room for the black queen to give checks to the white king to set up a perpetual and make a draw. If you now go to a6 with the king, then you get checkmated with white. Queen f1 is checkmate. So after knight c6 check, you need to take that piece. And then black plays queen takes h5. You can also try queen h2, protecting b8, but that doesn't work. A takes b8 queen, queen takes, b7 check, king a7, and queen g1 checkmate. And another checkmate is on the board. But what is wrong after d takes e6 to take that pawn on h5 with check? What now? How can white escape the checks from the black pieces? Well, now comes one of the most famous chess moves in the history of the game, and it's a move that Kasparov shows in that ad for his masterclass. The move here is queen g8 to g5. What is that? White is giving up his mate threat. Of course, he had that mate threat on b8. He's giving that up with this move. And he's putting his queen on an unguarded square where it can be captured with check. And when that's after black takes, it's check, and white is left with 3 pawns against 3 black pieces. But he's winning in this position. Quite incredible. If there's one thing you need to know about chess, is this move in Mitrofanov's study. Queen g8 to g5. What a move. Just to show you that other moves don't work, if you play king a6 instead of queen g5, then there's queen e2, check, and black is a perpetual. And also if you go to b4 after queen h4 check, you cannot escape the checks. Queen g5 is really the only move that wins for white. We have to take the queen. If we play, for example, queen d1, trying to set up checks that way, there is b7 check, king takes, and queen c5 is checkmate. So that doesn't work for black. Black really has to take the queen. Queen takes g5 check. And what is the point? Well, the point is a geometrical one. The chessboard is too small. Because after king a6, and now we're threatening b6, b7 checkmate, black doesn't have any checks on the light squares. The black queen would have loved to go to g0, but that square does not exist. So black has no checks, and giving away the queen doesn't work. For example, queen b5 check, king takes, knight c2, then there is c7, and if you take, there is b takes c7, and white will promote and will win the game. One of these pawns will promote. So after king a6 threatening b7 checkmate, black can still play bishop takes a7 to take the checkmate out of the position, free the b8 square for the king, and now another wonderful move, c7, pure magic. A quiet move with only 2 pawns against queen, bishop and knight. Now white is threatening both c8 and b7 checkmate. So black has to give the queen. There's no other option. Queen a5 check, king takes, but after king b7 to cover the c8 square, There is b takes a7. The black king cannot stop both promotions at the same time. One of those pawns will promote. And the knight is too far away to help. Absolutely amazing. Leopold Mitrofanov composed a few hundred beautiful endgame studies, 40 of which won first prizes. Many have the same kind of romantic, witty harmony that is characteristic of this famous Queen G5 study. He was a chemical engineer by profession, and Grandmaster Gena Sosonko remembers him from the Leningrad Chess Club of the 60s. A little scrag of a man, hardly 5 feet tall, his growth had been stunted by severe malnutrition during the Second World War siege of Leningrad. He died in 1992 at the age of 60, and he will be famous for as long as the game of chess is played. Hope you enjoyed this study, and if you did, you are in good company, because the 13th world champion Garry Kasparov also enjoyed it and put it in his advertisement for his Masterclass series. If you liked it, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel. Please leave a comment, and if you liked it, it would be great if you could share the video on social media. You also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick from Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.